some of you watched my last video on this little amp that I found that someone had thrown out. If you haven't watched it, consider checking it out. Anyway, I took this little orange crush amp apart, or what was left of it anyway, cleaned it up, and designed and printed this shell for it. Since the day I put that video out, something pretty cool has happened. JLC 3DP reached out and offered to make me something under a budget in exchange for a video. If you don't know what JLC 3DP is, let me explain a little bit about the services they offer. First off, they can make you custom PCBs. And they can print out basically any 3D model that you can throw at them in a variety of filaments. They even offer painting on some of the filaments. Along with that, they do CNC machining, and as I already said, custom PCB making. I'm really simplifying what they offer for the sake of time, but if you're in the market for anything like this at all, please consider checking them out. Having just finished this video about the amp when they reached out, I thought, obviously, I want them to make a better shell for me. So I jumped into Fusion 360 and changed up my design quite a bit. For starters, the walls are thicker. I made them thin on my print so that I didn't use up a lot of filament. Also, the corners aren't sharp anymore. And the gills, or whatever you want to call them, are elongated and come around the corners now. I also dropped in an image of Orange's logo and traced it out and debossed it into the face. For some reason when I look at this, it almost feels like something designed in the 50s. It wasn't the inspiration for my design, but it reminds me a lot of those old 50s radios with the chrome chevrons on them, which I think are pretty cool. At any rate, it was nice designing something without worrying about being confined to the printer, filament, and time that I have. I went through the process of uploading the STL, which was simple, and then I chose to have it printed in resin. They even offer full color resin, which would be cool, but for something this size, that's pretty overkill. I mean, the cost of this would have been more than the price of a brand new orange OR15 head. And let's be honest, I would rather have an OR15. Thankfully, I'm not the one paying, so I added it to the cart. No, I'm just kidding, that's way over budget. I ended up choosing the 9600 resin. There was even cheaper resin available called Resin X, which probably would have been fine to use, but I just went with the 9600 for reasons. It's not my money. Also, I believe from the description that the Resin X is just some random, like, you can't choose the properties, it's just random whatever they have, and I wanted to make sure I had something strong. At any rate, I finished going through the order process and chose the cheapest shipping option to stay under budget. Then I just waited. Thankfully, they have a way of showing you the order process from printing to cleaning and sanding, and I just came back a day or two later and it was surprisingly already shipped out. The whole process took a little over a week from the time I submitted the order to when I received it. And this was on my doorstep today. Let's crack it open and check it out.
Unboxing the joy, feeling the vibe. JLC 3DP, it's alive. Orange and plays loud, makes mama proud. Neighbors are mad, but I stand my ground. Plug it in and I turn it up high. Strings on fire, soaring through the sky. Bass hits hard, rhythm in the heart. This rockin' jam sets me apart. Ain't no silence when I play this loud. In this noise I truly feel proud. Mad neighbors just don't understand. This is my beat, my rockin' band. Distortion rings in the evening air. Whips that cut through without a care. In my room I start a new trend.
Sweet. Holy crap. Honestly, this thing feels like a tank. It turned out so cool. The first thing I wanted to do was a test fit, so I had to take the amp out of the old shell that I printed first. Throughout the whole process, I was worried about the difference in tolerances between my printer and theirs. I was pretty sure that their printer is much more accurate than mine is, and so it did end up being too tight to fit, unfortunately.
Interesting.
Barely touching. So I broke out some files and a sanding block and just went to town for about a half hour until I was finally able to make it fit. I was also going to tape off the orange logo, but I got frustrated and decided I'd figure out something else later. I wish they'd have offered painting on this resin, and that there'd have been enough money in the budget to even have them paint it. But I guess it gives me the opportunity to brush up on my painting skills, which are shit. Let's just be clear. They're shit. So I picked up a can of orange spray paint and some clear coat and used an old wire hanger to hold the shell up so I could paint it. It was a windy day and I was worried about overspray coming back on the camera, so I thought it would be a smart idea to cover up the camera with a Ziploc bag while I filmed. It was not a good idea. Here it is after the first coat anyway. Because of Hurricane Helene, I had to wait several days just to paint it. And then I waited another 3 days for it to cure in my garage. I ended up putting 2 coats of orange and 3 coats of clear. It turned out okay. I mean, from a distance it's nice, but up close you can see some imperfections. But I'm the only one who has to look at it every day, and I suppose I can live with it. I did find some polish in the garage, but judging by the looks, it's probably older than I am. Is it supposed to be that color? It's brown. I thought they, aren't they usually, I buffed it in by hand, but didn't really notice a difference. Once I mounted the amp to it, I quickly realized that there was something missing, and it was those chrome chevrons. I can't print chrome, but I can design something and print it in gray filament that will give a similar look. So I just designed some thin, like, inserts that I'll end up gluing into place inside the shell. I vaguely remembered seeing videos where people remove the top and bottom layers and just printed the infill, and I knew that's what I wanted to do. In the end, I'm hoping it kind of looks like similar to grill cloth, which you would normally find on an amp cabinet. I did this in Prusa Slicer by going to print settings and changing the perimeter to 0 as well as the top and bottom layers under the Layers and Perimeters tab. Then I switched around the infill pattern and sliced over and over until I landed on something that I liked, which turned out to be honeycomb. After test fitting one, I printed them all out and hot glued them in place. Once I had it put together, I immediately remembered that I had to do something with that orange logo on the front. I first tried printing the letters on my textured bed, but I had such a hard time trying to get them in place that I just gave up on that idea. That's when I remembered I had some mica powder and UV resin. I mixed some black powder into the resin and poured little drops into each letter one by one. Then I used this tool to help flow the resin around because I didn't want to risk overflowing. After that, I hit it with a lighter real quick just to get out any possible bubbles, and then I set my UV lamp on it for about 10 minutes to cure. And this is the final product. Fun fact, while I was editing this video, I decided that I was going to give this amp away to my brother-in-law. But I'm the only one who has to look at it every day, and I suppose I can live with it. He's been going through a tough time lately. I'm not going to share his personal business, but I wanted him to have it. He's been playing for a while now, and for reasons, he doesn't have an amp at all anymore, so I know he'll really appreciate this, and I know he'll give this amp a lot of use. So I asked him to stop by.
We were just riding out to get out of the house for 7 o'clock, so I figured I'd just stop and have a good play on the way home.
Why?
You got this?
Yeah.
What's it from?
That's from, I had a company make me, and then I painted
Oh,
it.
hell no. That's awesome, dude.
I painted it.
Thank you so much, man. I didn't think I'd see. That's f***ing badass. I thought this was some new line of shit. That's
No.
kick the f*** ass,
I
man.
made-
Plays, right?
Yeah, it plays. You can use your headphones or this. You can go out to an amp.
That's killer, man. That's f***ing awesome. I want to go home and play it. That looks like some like retro-ish shit that they would come out with. This body.
That's what I kind of was like. It's like a mix between a 50s toaster and an old radio.
It looks f***ing awesome to me. That's f***ing awesome, dude. I can't believe you guys did that. Last thing I was expecting, man. Everything's like the f***ing logo. Everything's legit.
Yeah.
You can just read. It's got me excited. I want to play it. I so appreciate something like this very much, man. I haven't had nothing good happen in a little bit. This is killing me. Well, thank you. Hell yeah. That's fucking awesome, man.
So he didn't have time to sit down and play it that night on camera, but he took it home with him and assured me he will be jamming on it that night and many other nights. And that's all I really wanted to hear. I know this amp isn't anything special, it's just a little practice amp. But I saved it from the landfill. I gave it another life. And I gave my brother-in-law something that he found really special. A big thanks to JLC 3DP for letting me use up some of their time and money. Please consider checking them out. Links are in the description. Thanks for watching. Having literally just finished the amp about the video when they reached out, I thought, the hell did I just say?